FaithBoardExperience.com is live, y'all. It is live. I am so excited. You're hearing it here first. I want you to head over to FaithBoardExperience.com. Check us out. Leave a comment below. Just incredible things happening, but not just because of me, but it's all because of God and His plan for my life. You know, my motto is, Lord, if what I want for my life is not in your will for my life, let it vanish and give me peace about it.
FaithBoard Experience has been such a blessing to my life. It's brought so much structure and allowed me to stay disciplined despite all that life has thrown at all of us. I'm thankful for the relationships that it's brought into my life. I'm thankful for the guidance, and I'm thankful for just the constant reminder that I'm never alone in trying to achieve my goals. So extremely, extremely thankful for FaithBoard Experience.
Hi, I'm Valerie, a faithful member of the FaithBoard community and proud owner of the Mama Goose podcast, which could not have happened without FaithBoard. And I am just so grateful. Thank you, Coria.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to everybody. This morning in the chat box right now, you guys know that I am super, super interactive. And yes, Cheryl, I saw your message. You can definitely share this on your timeline. If you're talking about my timeline, let me know. But good morning, everybody. I am super, super, super excited. Many of you all know FaithBoard Experience has been a labor of love for some years now. When I say years, I'm talking about, I guess this would be the 8th year. The very first Faith Board, which wasn't an experience as of yet, was in my living room. Someone had to remind me of that the other day, that it was actually in my living room. I had just invited a few ladies over to my home. I really didn't know where this vision that God had for my life, where it would take me. And here we are, 8 years later. So I want you guys to do something for me this morning in the chat box. I want you to type something that I have been using kind of as a hashtag. I've been using 2021 WON, but in the chat box this morning, I want everybody to type, and this is the way we're going to start the morning. I will win. That's all. Let me hear. All right. Let me see in the chat this morning. I will win. Let me know that you are confident about all that God has planned for you this morning. I see the 2021. I like it. I like it. Good morning, Marlene, Valerie. I am so excited to see some new faces, some new profiles, as well as some old ones. I will win. That is exactly right. This year, we will take nothing less. All of the people who have been with me for so long, you know that I expect the very best. For the new folks that are on the line today, let me tell you that FaithBoard Experience has birthed books, podcasts, new businesses, entrepreneurs, you name it. FaithBoard Experience has seen it all over the last 7 and going into 8 years. So I'm super, super excited. One more thing, and I know we have a lot of new people on the line, but if you have been to FaithBoard before, let me see it in the chat box that you are a faithful FaithBoarder. If you have attended before, all right, I see it. Thank you. I still see the 2021s coming through, guys. And spiritual promotion, absolutely. Cheryl, I cannot skip over that. Cheryl Merritt, spiritual promotion. And when I tell you, watching the level, just the different levels of things that have happened with people who have been a part of FaithBoard in the past is absolutely amazing. So let's start it off this way, because I truly want everybody to understand that's on the line today what my goal is. And today you're going to hear the story like you've never heard it before. You've probably in the past briefly heard me mention how a girls' trip, a weekend trip, and what I'll say my Chica tribe, how they completely changed my life. And I don't think that they've ever heard this story before. So you're going to be hearing it for the first time today. They're going to be hearing it, many of them, for the first time today. You're going to hear from my girls who were with us that weekend, and even some of our girls that we just hold each other accountable. We sincerely pray for one another. So my goal is to help you be intentional about your goals, period. Because honestly, many times we tell God what we want instead of asking God what He wants for our life. And let me just tell you this, your plans can fail, but God's plans are fail proof, whether you know it or not. His plans are completely fail proof. And it's truly time for all of us to be who God called us to be, and then to have the courage to have the courage to do what it is that he tells us to do without distraction. Don't miss that part. Without distraction. So what I want you to do this morning is, if you have your Pray, Plan, Execute journals, and some of you have already received these in the mail, you've already gone on Amazon or prayplanexecutejournal.com and ordered your journal, please make sure that you have this handy today. We're going to be taking some notes. You're going to be putting some things in your journal today, so have it ready to discuss your 2021 Faith Board as well as your goals. And whether you're doing a physical board, I'm going to show you guys my physical board from last year. And I'm a word person, affirmation person, so sometimes these get swapped out. I'm looking over the top, but this was my board from last year. And I am so grateful that I accomplished everything on here. Edge, that is the voiceover studio that I work with. Book, I got the book cranked out. There's a testimony you're getting ready to hear about that. Of course, I wanted to take FaithBoard to another level. Didn't know it was going to be this level, but right. GPI is a company that I use to educate myself on government contracting, which became another stream of income for me in 2021. And then this little guy, who is not a little guy anymore, you're actually going to hear from him today. Guys, that's my why. So while a lot of people have pictures of homes and of cars and of all of these other things, which is great, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That guy is my why. And in the book, in Pray, Plan, Execute, I talk about your why and whether or not your why makes you cry. And if your why doesn't make you cry, and if you're not passionate about it, I'm going to be honest, it's probably not a big enough goal. So for me, just me now, I don't need the pictures of the things, because he drives me to do the things I need to do to accomplish those things. So again, if you have your journal, make sure you have your journal out. If you're doing your physical board today, you're going to be taking a lot of notes to get ready for that physical board. And then the last thing is, there are also things like virtual boards. So don't forget, you can use Canva, you can use Pinterest, you can use iWish. I think another virtual board app is Dream It Alive. But my board typically has pictures. It typically has notes, as you saw, and it's part of my decor, because I tell this story all the time. We go to these cute events, we put these pictures on a board, and by February, we're like, this doesn't look so good with my decor. It doesn't match my bedroom. So we put it on the side of a dresser or something, right? And then by March, we're like, never mind. I know what I'm supposed to do. And then by April, you have no idea. You're trying to figure out whether or not you need to start completely over. And we don't want that. Like I said, my goal is to help you be intentional about the plan that God has for your life. And FaithBoard Experience is not a one-day thing. So it's not just today. We typically do a 30-day check-in. We do a mid-year meetup, and then we'll do a finish strong call. So when you become part of the FaithBoard community, you're not just getting some cutesy event where we're talking about putting pictures on the board. You're not just getting an event for me to get you excited for a day. No, I don't need all of that, right? I need to see you get from A to Z. That is exactly what I want to do. I want to see you go from saying, I want to be an author, to, and I just happen to have her book right here, to being an author. This young lady, Valerie Champion, has been to every single Faith Board. Today is her 8th Faith Board experience. She was in my living room when we did the very first one. And I'm very excited about this book. I'm actually going to be giving one of these away today. So when I say that we have birthed authors and podcasts, guys, I'm not exaggerating. And honestly, I'm not bragging on me because I can't do it in my own right. Right? I'm definitely not bragging on me, but I'm bragging on the vision that God has given me and that I am super, super excited about. So let me give you a few housekeeping things before we get started. If you hear anything today that you really like, I just ask you to tag me and use the hashtag FaithBoard, and FaithBoard Experience. That's it. And then, like I said, I'm actually going to type my hashtag. A lot of people do words, different things. This is my hashtag in the chat box for 2021, and it is 20 spelled out, 20 spelled out again, and one with a WON. So you will see me use that throughout the year. So again, if you hear anything today, make sure you tag me at Just Coria. And use FaithBoard and FaithBoard Experience. The other thing is, text FaithBoard to 484848 if you have not already. I said it before, people will tell you that I absolutely do not spam you. In fact, I don't send out very many at all, very many text messages. I make sure that they make sense. So make sure that you text, and it's going to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Text FaithBoard to 484848 to make sure you stay plugged in to that 30-day check-in, that 6-month meetup, and that Finish Strong call. And I will tell you, our Finish Strong call this year was phenomenal. Our Finish Strong call was November the 7th. November the 7th. And believe it or not, there were people who had goals on their list and they hadn't even started. But between November 7th and the end of the year, they got it done. So talking about the end of the year, I want to give you guys a quick testimony. Like I said, I showed you my board from this past year, or from 2020. I got everything done on my board for the first time, by the way. I got every single thing done on my board. I started a new business and got my certificate in government contracts. I really did a lot more as it became to voiceover and that side of my stream of income. And then I wanted to write a book. And guys, when I tell you, when it got down to the wire, Martia Anderson, who is one of my web developers and marketing assistants, we didn't think it was going to happen. Every single roadblock that you can think of came against us. And I just kept saying, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This book is going to be on Amazon. I eliminated every single distraction that I could think of. When issues came up, I said, we will figure it out. And I just kept saying, so I woke up on December the 31st. And I went to bed on December 30th. I looked on Amazon. The book was still not live. I woke up the next morning. I said, it's going to happen. And guys, I woke up on December 31st. I logged in and Amazon said, your book is live on Amazon.com. You talk about waiting until the very last day of the year. But here's the deal. I did not get upset. And I had absolutely no doubt in my mind that it was going to happen. That is the type of attitude that you have to have in 2021. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. Your plans can fail, but God's plans cannot. And I was told that I would crank out a book in 2020. It may have been December the 31st, but guess what? It happened. I absolutely didn't give up. And I'm glad that I didn't. Now, in the chat box, I want you guys to type the one thing that you must do in 2021. In 2021, what is that one thing that you must do? And later on, we're going to talk about how important it is when you talk about, what you have to do. Because so many times we pray, but then we don't plan. Or we plan, and then we don't pray. Or we try to pray and then execute, and we miss the in-between. And I cannot tell you how important this is for me to pray, to plan, and to execute. And that's how this book actually came about over the years. So in 2021, what is that one thing you must do? Now, there's a reason why I'm having you type these things in the chat box. Because now, see, we have proof to go back and look at what you said that you were going to do, what you said you were going to be committed to, right? And let me tell you something that my mother told me a long time ago. Commitment is doing what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said you would do it. Right? So today we're on this Zoom. I mean, we're on this live. We're all excited. We're making these commitments to ourselves. But there is going to come a time in 2021 where you may not feel the exact same way that you feel right now. So again, commitment is doing what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said you would do it. So if you're married and you're standing at the altar, you're all excited, you're giddy, you're happy, but then, you have an argument, something happens, you still have to be committed, right? So that's exactly what it is. So I want you guys to go ahead who have your journals already. If you've already purchased your Pray, Plan, Execute journal, on page 3, I want you to write that exact same thing, that one thing that you must do in 2021 that has to get done. That has to get done. Now, while you're doing that, why faith board? Why not a vision board? Am I being extra? I'm really not. Am I doing too much? Definitely not, because this wasn't my vision. It was God's vision. And actually, the concept of vision boards was introduced to me. And I typically say always a good friend, but you're going to hear from that friend today, was introduced to me by my good friend, Phaedra Parks. And it was some years ago. We typically take a girls' weekend every single year. And this particular year, we decided to go to the Ritz-Carlton Reynolds Plantation, beautiful property. And our planner extraordinaire, LaTonya P. Hines, got all of the supplies that we needed. And she laid them all out. And we went to the Ritz-Carlton Reynolds Plantation, like I said. And we were going to do these vision boards. And guys, let me tell you, I wasn't super excited about doing it because I was like, I don't want to do an arts and crafts project over a girls' weekend while we're at this beautiful property where we can be eating this lovely food. We had the wonderful penthouse and we taking some great trips, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to go along with this, because it's what the girls are doing. But we got together, y'all. We laughed as we always do. We probably cried. We cut out pictures, and we made our boards look really pretty. But today, for the very first time, you guys are going to hear from my Chica tribe on what makes our group so special, what made that trip special. And I just can't wait I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I'm going to start adding them all to the stream so you guys can see everybody. LaTonya, I don't know if her camera is on as of yet, but I'm going to start adding everybody to the stream. There she is. And you guys may have to unmute yourselves. Phaedra, Tony, let me know when you guys are ready. I don't know if your cameras are on just yet, but I'm going to get everybody to start introducing themselves. And like I said, you may have to unmute yourself. Adrian, y'all, let me tell you, I'm pretty sure Adrian and I are related. I'm pretty sure somewhere. And Adrian, I don't know. I don't think I can hear you. Can you guys give a thumbs up if you guys can hear Adrian, because I can't hear her yet. So let me know. Adrian, we see your mouth moving. LaTonya, let me see. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. So let's start with we'll go back and let's start with LT. And then one of us will we'll text Phaedra and make sure she comes on the screen because I still see her picture, so I won't add her just yet. So LT is our planner extraordinaire. Let me tell you, when we get ready to take trips, LT sets everything up. But what I want her to do is take a few minutes and introduce herself first.
LaTonya P. Hines, and I am so blessed to be a part of this circle. This is our prayer group, our prayer circle. It's amazing seeing everybody on this call right now. COVID kind of takes everything away. So it's good for us to be here together. And what you have done with the idea that we did so many years ago is amazing. So I'm just very happy to be here.
Absolutely. So Latonya would never blow herself up. So let me toot her horn just a little bit. Or correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember, if I'm not mistaken, that trip you saying, guys, you know what? I want to be a TV legal analyst. I want to be, where do I start? I remember you calling me. I think I was at work. You remember that, Tony? And she's saying, I want to be on TV. I want to do this. And I was like, okay. And I mean, when any of us, when we say something, I don't know if the rest of you guys who are watching today, if you just truly believe, and when your friends say something that you absolutely believe it. And now she has been on CNN. She has been on, I think, Channel 11 Alive. I mean, so many different things. To see this now, years past, LT, come on now. Attorney, I mean, everything. Tell us about that journey a little bit.
I'm trying to remember the year that we did our trip. You guys remember what year that was? Was it 2000?
I don't know if anybody remembers. I have asked so many times.
I think maybe
2009.
Was
No.
it 2011?
I think it was before 2012. So I think they
one.
Yeah, Aiden was 1 year old. So we're gonna have to say it was 2011 or 2012 because Aiden was on that trip with us, and he was 1.
All right. So I don't think it's 2012. The reason why I say that is because I think that's when we went to talking about all our girls trips, Miami. That's when we did the Miami trip, I think.
Okay, well then it was because we went that same year. So it was 2012 then. Yep. It was.
God.
We took the trip that year, and remember, I was engaged. I didn't even have any prospects, and then I ended up getting engaged.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
I put a ring on that board in April.
I can't remember, but for some reason I thought it was earlier because I think I had said something about like I wanted, maybe do a guest something. I can't remember if I had already done like Nancy Grace or not yet. And
okay.
And then talked about it, and I was like, I really kind of enjoyed this. It'd be kind of neat to be able to do something more. And then by at the end of 2012, 2013, then HLN had a show called HLN After Dark. And then I started being a regular on that. And so I've been kind of blessed. I'm now on the board of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Southeast Chapter. So
wow, nice.
I'm doing a lot of the different things, and the regular legal analyst for Channel 11 here, which is our NBC studio. And then we did some coverage of a case, which is just, talk about a small world, right? We did coverage of what was called a hot car case.
I remember.
Remember that? And I would think that was 2016 when that trial was going on. That case got that we would do a special every day, and that special got nominated for an Emmy, a daytime Emmy. I mean, it got nominated for an Emmy. And so we subsequently, won the Emmy. So now I can say I'm an Emmy winner, right?
I mean, talk about going from 0 to 100.
But the funny part is, like, I'm a prosecutor during the day, and the funny part now is I'm actually in the office of the office that tried that case for which I got the Emmy. Right? Is that not weird world?
Wow.
Yeah. I've been blessed in being able to realize some of those things. And when we look back over that board, I mean, some of those things don't come to pass like all in that year, but a lot of things that I wanted to have happen, like I had Good Morning America. Oh, I've been there. And you can look back and see some of those things. And it's been pretty amazing being able to be able to see those things up close. Oh, and I went to the daytime Emmys. Yeah, that's right.
Wow. See, sometimes we have to talk our way through it. Sarah, Oh my goodness. I
Sarah's
remember
a big one.
I remember Sarah making it. Just making
I-
like she was like serious about I may not be able to stay all night, but I will be there.
I
Sarah,
remember.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Sarah Lou. I actually remember that it was 2012 because I had just gotten on as a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the
Whew.
GBI. And I was on call that weekend, meaning that my movement was restricted. So I wasn't really supposed to leave, within a certain region. And luckily, I stayed within that distance because we met at Lake Oconee. So it worked out great. I couldn't spend the night, unfortunately, but this was a totally new concept for me. I had never heard of vision boards, but I'll tell you something really interesting. My husband, who works in the medical field, he told me when we first met and we're getting to know each other, he told me about what he did as a kid. And he's from the Caribbean, um, really, really highly motivated, didn't grow up with a lot, financially. But he told me about how he would cut out pictures of things that he envisioned for himself, not only material things, but experiences. And every one of those things he has actually achieved now in his life. And I remembered that story when we were talking about the vision boards and the power that they have. And I I I tore that vision board up, let me tell you, because I just was excited at that point in my life. I was kind of in the middle of my career or beginning of my career,
Mhm.
and my kids were young, and there was nothing as a mother and an employee and a friend and a sister and all the roles that we play. There was nothing that I was doing that I felt was focused on me, right? It was all about other things and my focus, my locum of focus was always in a different direction. Even though I was working, it was what I wanted to do. I wasn't really thinking about what I wanted. I was just kind of going along. I was on the treadmill. And this was a totally new experience for me. And I wish I had saved that first vision board that we worked on because I know
Wow.
I know that so many things have transpired. And I loved the idea that this was not just a vision board. This was a part of, thy will be done, not mine,
Yes.
right? That's such an important component here. And I love that it was a faith-based exercise we were doing. It wasn't just, cut out pictures and put what you want on a board. There was more to it. There was a depth to it that involved God's vision. And that was the most exciting part for me. And I thank you for having us here today. And I'm so excited about your journey, Gloria, and all the people that have
Yeah.
been the same concept. So
Absolutely. And getting off that treadmill, and I know we have some guys on the line, but as women, it's so important. So I want you guys to type in the chat box if you're ready to get off the treadmill, just type yes. Because so many times, as when we get into our routine, you know what I mean? Wake up, cook breakfast, drop the kids off, come home, cook dinner, do laundry, clean, go to bed, get up and start over, right? And even if you don't have kids, we still sometimes get stuck in that same routine. And I said earlier in the intro that it's time for us to be who God called us to be without distraction. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't have responsibility, but without distraction, right? So this next person, Adrian, let's do a sound test.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now. So,
Yay, there's a victory for me.
Adrian, let me do this quick, or let Adrian introduce herself. Let me say this, that Sarah and I have this crazy bond connection because her husband delivered my son. He not only delivered my son, he probably delivered, I think I said 5 or 6 of my coworkers' kids. And I remember being at Aiden's birthday, his first birthday. Yeah. You guys remember we went to the water park? We were at Aiden's first birthday, and this was not planned. And we were all standing around. The kids were running around and this, that, and the other. And we looked over underneath an umbrella at a patio table. And Dr. Lou was literally either surrounding or holding 5 kids. Y'all, this is, I promise, I got to find this picture. And they were all kids that he had delivered. Not even planned. It was almost like they all flocked to him in some way because he had this magnet. And we were like, do you see this? Do you see all of these kids surrounding him? So it was absolutely incredible for us to be brought back together that way. But this next person, Adrian, I was saying earlier, I'm positive that we are sisters in this life and another life. We can finish each other's sentences sometimes. Yeah. We can not talk for a month and then call each other and pick up, like all of us really on this line.
Yeah. But and often we're having a parallel life and don't know it. Like we'll be completely going through the exact same stuff.
It could be the exact same stuff. So Adrian, take a minute to introduce yourself this morning.
Well, you did nicely. I'm Adrian, and I've known most of these ladies for a long time. I've known Phaedra. I always say Phaedra's a gift giver, and her best gifts are all the people that she's introduced me to as new sisters in my life that have been so important to me. But I've known Phaedra for a while, like 30 years or so now. So imagine all the great connections I've gotten with you guys over this time. For me, one thing that was kind of tagging on to how Sarah ended was, I think when we met that weekend, some of us, me, because I live in Florida, had not been together with each other. We had been doing these weekly phone calls, our prayer support group with mostly us and a few others. And we started that to lift up Phaedra, but it turned into this huge, beautiful support group of each other. So when we got there, we already kind of knew each other well enough to know what's going to be on each person's board. If you think about it, like we all knew so much about each other's lives. So it was just a beautiful thing to really be able to see the things we've been talking about for so long kind of manifest onto that paper. And so, and then watching it grow, we continue to support each other. I think that's a large part of how it worked for all of us, is that we did that. Even if you're alone, like me in Florida here, there's that group of people that are also, working with you in a way. And I think that's invaluable when you're trying to make a big life change or get yourself to the next step. Because we're all going to self-sabotage at some point. You feel you don't deserve it, or maybe you feel I shouldn't have to work so hard for that. I do deserve it. There's all kind of things that you really, this time I need to put on this. I can't find that time because I'm too busy taking care of everyone else. And having that visual reminder or support group of friends is such a great way to bring you back to focus, And that's so good. For me, I don't know. I remember Lou. I mean, I was so impressed with Sarah with the whole, what she was doing with her career. I was like, oh my God, she's a badass. And then, everyone has their own really cool thing. We're very diverse in what we do. And that's also really inspiring for me. And for me, I remember mine was I kind of felt like, I have this lame vision. I just want like more time. Or everyone else everyone had like career goals, and I'm kind of like the suburban housewife lady of everyone. And so for me, I was like, I want to get healthy. But guess what?
You did.
I did. And I've even become a health coach. I have, I've become a hiking guide because I wanted more time outdoors. That's really what I was like, I want more time to be outside. And so I'm actually a hiking guide, health coach, and time to travel. And I'm starting to travel. I leave Thursday for Europe, even in COVID.
For months. You're leaving us for months.
3 months. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Tony's like, what's going on?
I am. We got time to come in.
Right. You on the way. But y'all, Adrian, think about that. And I want other people on the line to consider this. First of all, being a housewife is a job. Let's be very clear. So we won't write off, right? We definitely not going to write off that it was easy or anything like that. But I think the point that I don't want people to miss here is I don't care what it is that you do from 9 to 5. It doesn't mean that
Yes.
you shouldn't have goals for yourself. You are important, right? And get healthy, have more time, and travel. Y'all, let me tell y'all, Adrienne, y'all can't see her right now, but my girl is drop dead gorgeous. She was drop dead gorgeous back then, but my girl is gorgeous. Okay, pulling them. We don't want to go anywhere with Adrienne and not let her lead, because we know that she gonna pull them from the left and don't even cheat. She's blushing, but she's
Yeah, I'm
so
gonna look.
beautiful.
You're sweet.
She's so beautiful from the inside out. But now, a health coach, a hiking guide, and when I tell y'all she is being so modest, I don't know, I won't tell exactly where you're going, but when you can pick up your life, baby, and say, I'm going to Europe for 3 months.
During COVID.
Who does that? What? I mean, you talk about, now y'all know I'm always using the hashtag travel chick. Well, who does that? That is the kind of life I want to lead. And then to say, oh, I have a girlfriend. She's a GBI special agent.
Oh, I know.
She started that job that weekend. I mean, seriously. Oh, my friend over there, my prosecutor. Oh, yeah, she's on CNN. And now y'all about to hear from the biggest cheerleader
Yeah.
I could ever wish to have on my squad. Okay. I'm talking about the biggest cheerleader any girl could even dream of having on her squad. Before Tony introduces herself, let me tell you this. When she texts me, and I wish I could show y'all my phone, the way she addresses me is, hey, millionaire. Of course I'll do it for you, millionaire. Yes, Miss Millionaire. And she may not even know this, because I get chills on my neck right now. I can go back and look at messages from Christmas, my birthday, no matter what it is. And she is addressing me the same way. Tony, the effect that you have had on my life is when people tell me that they want to do something or be something, that's how I save them in my phone now. I remember a young lady telling me in high school she wanted to be a doctor. You know what I did? I saved her as Dr. Crystal Crumb. She is now in the Navy. Amen. Come on, y'all. Call it what it is. We have to be ready to be who God called us to be without distraction. You're going to hear me say that over and over and over again. So Tony, cheerleader, superstar, go ahead and introduce yourself.
One, like you said, I still have my shirts.
Oh my goodness.
I still have my shirts. It's just that when if you don't believe, the shirt is perfect, because I'll go into the devil's den and show him like, oh no, don't be tripping. Don't be tripping. We're going to do this. So on our trip, the funny thing was, Sarah, of course, worked for GBI. I was still in the military. I was like, well, I can only come for this because I got to go back to work. And I remember on that vision board, they was like, what you putting on there? I said, I'm going to put where I want to see myself. I kept saying, I'm not cutting out Oprah. She already there. And it wasn't anything against the person. I had to tell myself, where did I want to see me? The things I wanted to see myself with, because it's obvious that these dreams can happen for you. And I see them all the time. Like, I truly get to witness it. And it starts to get almost scary, saying, well, you said you was going to do that. And it happened. And all of you ladies understand that was going to happen. I just know that the funniest thing was, the only thing I could focus on that weekend was, Phaedra made these peach, y'all know me in alcohol. Phaedra made these peach berninis. I was like, what is this? I would like these, a lot of those, line those up. And it was just so organic for us to be in that place. Like you said, we started praying, and people believe it. When I go, oh, no. My friend, before she decided to do this thing, she said, look, the world is going to see me like this. I need to get people together that's going to understand the other side of this. That's going to be there and hold my hand when it don't play out the way someone else tried to see it. So
for me to be in the group alone, I was going, look at God. Look, won't God show you? Won't he put you around people that you don't think look like you, people that you don't think do the things you do? But they're all there. I passed her at where I was going to Toy LT's job as a recruiter. I was up there all the time. I'm dealing with things that Sarah had to deal with. Adrian, you watching always on Facebook, coaching me, going, hey, girl. And I'm thinking people don't see me. They see us.
Yeah.
So why not be able to just put that, you know what I'm saying, put that back into the universe by being that thing that you know that you truly can do. And we have had the best girls trips. I know y'all laughing at me, but it's been the best times where I don't care. I'm going to be me because we paid to be here. We did these things. And it's somebody else going through it. If I don't show you what free look like, don't talk to me. Because free looks like everything God told us we was going to be able to do. Not what somebody else in your head said, but it was like somebody talked to you. If we're in this group, he was like, oh, you can do that. Somebody told you, oh, you'll never be able to do that. And I'm that, oh, watch this. Don't believe me, just watch me. And since then, we just been rocking. Doing fun stuff, supporting each other, looking from a distance, going, you got it. Mm-hmm. Lives have changed, but we're still the same loving people that love one another. If you don't have a team, if you don't have somebody you can call and say, hey, you got $10, you ain't got nobody.
Well, and it's one of those things too, where like what you said a second ago made me think, it's like being yourself, being free, being you, that's the only way that you can really truly know what you want in yourself, you know, but having that group of women that you can just be, or friends, family, that you can just truly be yourself and not even thinking about it, it really opens you up to be able to really get in touch with what you want to create for your life. And what are you going to do? What's your biggest desire? So that really only adds to the support, because it's not even you don't even have to consider anything but your true self when you're surrounded by others that are doing the same.
I was saying before we did the phone call, you know, I was like, I wasn't feeling it, but I said, God, just give me something. And it was stand. You know, I'll keep thinking about John P. Key's song Stand, because it got me through so much. But it was like standing, you got to stand for what you believe for no matter what. And so my lovely thing about seeing, I knew Corey in another space. I met you in another space. I met you in another space. So that's all we're all in this awesome cosmic universe, like you said, passing one another, thinking, oh, they're not going through anything, or they look like they're happy. And when you started to do a faith board and you change the word instead of vision, because we see a whole bunch of stuff all the time. And you like, no, I don't want that in my life. You changed the word. It wasn't being extra favorite. It was not well, that's our friend that brought all of us together. But Corey, it wasn't being extra. It was being what God had told you, was being obedient. You just being obedient to what God shared with you. And you said, well, you know what? I'm going to call it this. So I thank you guys for just always embracing all my quirks and just staying strong women. We run the world. It still hasn't changed.
No. You know, one thing I love about all of us being together is that we always pray about what we're going to do before we do it. That's always very important. And, you know, I always go back to a passage that my mom always brings up, and I've brought it up before with us. And sometimes she'll say it and I'll be like, oh, Mama, I know, because I'll be like, oh, goodness, I know. I get it. There's a plan, but there is something to be said if you ever go to Habakkuk, and I want to make sure I'm saying it, Habakkuk 2:3, where it says, write the vision, make it plain, though it may tarry, wait for it shall surely come. And there is something to be said about writing something down, because it actually gives life to it, you know. A lot of times they say life and death comes from the tongue, but writing that down and putting it there, and then having friends around you who are also believing and praying about the vision that you have as well. There's something very powerful to it. And then it's just powerful. Just like, I just love this group. I could be in court. I remember one time I was in court and I was having an awful day, right? You know that you can't say anything to the judge because I could go to jail, right? Like, I was having an awful day. And and I sent this text and I was like, y'all, I'm having a bad time. This is bad. I'm trying not to break down. And just hearing that love, the text messages, love, that's being able to have a free space where you can be vulnerable, you can do whatever you need to do, and those people are going to support you. That's a great thing. And I think that's also great when you're working on your faith board experience. Being able to be honest with what you want, be honest about the fact that there are things that you're scared of and being able to do it. And then being able to have a support group that's like, you know what, I'm here for you. Even when you don't see the vision, I see the vision for you.
Now that's important. Having people who can carry that torch when you're down. I mean, Tony, I don't know if you remember when we went to Martha's Vineyard, another phenomenal trip put together by LT. We went to Martha's Vineyard and Tony and I left. I want to say it was the day before everybody else. And y'all, let me tell you, that ferry ride and that bus ride, Tony and I, we could have tore that place up because it was like just the encouragement was unbelievable. And I was so hyped by the time Tony and I got ready to leave that I just could not. And, you know, you have to know these little things about the people that you know and love. No matter where Tony goes, the one thing I know that Tony gonna have is some sunglasses, right? Tony, am I lying? Tony is serious about her sunglasses. And when Tony pulled out a pair of sunglasses and gave them to me, like, this future's so bright, you need some sunglasses. Y'all, I still have them. I would never forget that. And it may sound like something so small to the average person, but knowing Tony and how important that is to her, and for her to take them out of her bag and like, yes, you need these. You need these in your life. That kind of stuff is just incredible. And then the one last testimony I'll tell about one other person is LT. So I'm not going to answer this question. I want y'all to unmute because I know people think that we make some of this stuff up. But y'all, no matter what city we go to, what is the one place that LT is going to go no matter how far it is or what she has to do?
Sephora.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was
Italy. How many did you see in Italy? 18 or 20?
Yeah.
I don't care where LT goes. So I remember when you know these things about your friends, I remember going to Barcelona. I took a trip to Barcelona. And I'm just walking down the street and I see Sephora, but Sephora in Barcelona has a slide where you can slide into the store. I am not exaggerating. Oh, y'all, you know, I had to get video and everything for LT so I could slide into beauty.
Awesome.
But it probably meant more to her than anything. And what's the one word that I really want y'all? Yes, Nina. Nina was taking that video. Yeah. What's the one word that I want you guys to remember from all of this? And we'll get ready to bring Phaedra on in a minute too. But I want you guys to type accountability in the chat box, because when you hear these incredible stories from all of these women, Sarah, LT, Latonia, I keep saying LT, Latonia, LT, Adrian, and Tony, what it really comes down to, guys, is accountability. And let me tell you, I don't care how strong of a woman you are. I don't care how much power or empowered you are. We all need accountability. We all do. But, you know, after that trip and we did those boards, let me tell you the key thing here. The key thing was, like I said, we did these boards, we laughed, I'm pretty sure we cried, we did all of that, right? But in the end, and I don't know who it was, I think it was Phaedra, I want to give the credit to the wrong person, but we laid, do y'all remember us laying all those boards on that dining room table?
Yes.
And before Tony and Sarah left, we laid all the boards on the table we formed a circle and we prayed over those boards. And for me, I remember it so vividly. I mean, I just remember holding hands with everybody. I remember that circle. I remember, praying over those boards and us leaving. And I'm going to tell you why I distinctly remember that it was in April, because like I said, I got engaged in Memorial Day weekend. The following month, y'all, put that into perspective. I wasn't even dating nobody. It was
tripped me out.
So when
it tripped me out.
Yeah, that I was engaged, it was like, what? What? Now, I know the FaithBoard is serious. Come on now. Come on now. So we stood around that table. We put all of our vision boards on the table. Like I said, I think it was Phaedra that said, okay, y'all, let's pray over these. And a lot of us, Tony said it, we had problems, our own individual issues. But I saw something the other day that was so key, and I want you guys to write this down if you're taking notes, or write it in your pray, plan, execute journal if you have it handy. We have to pray the promise, not the problem. And so many times we pray about the problem. It's time to pray the promise. So I'm gonna put it to you like this. If you're an author, right, and you write a book, and you're somewhere, grocery store, I don't care where it is, TJ Maxx, you name it, and somebody walks up to you, LT or Sarah, whatever, and I know you, and they start quoting your book, how is that gonna make you feel? It would make you feel incredible, right? So when we have issues or problems, what we need to do is we need to pray the promise. Lord, you said, don't be afraid. You said, don't fear. You said, you're my light and my salvation. You said that I would be great. You said that my enemies would be my footstool. You said, right? We have to pray the promise and not the problem. And I believe that is one of the things that we stood on that night. We looked at the promise and we prayed about that. But one after another, things started to manifest for me in my life. And it just hit me that I needed to pray first, right? It clicked that in the past, I had been telling God what I wanted for my life. And now finally, I was asking God, what is it that you would have for me to do, right? What is it that you would have for me to do in this life? It hasn't been the same. Ladies, I just want you to know, we're getting ready to I'm going to go ahead and bring Phaedra in. I think she's ready. Okay, she's in, I see her. Well, hold on. Before we do that, I want you guys to do one more thing in the chat box. When I was talking about accountability and we started talking about manifestation, and that's truly what I want you guys to do right now. I want you all to take a minute and type manifestation into the chat box. Manifestation.
I don't have on my glasses. Let's see. Here we go. I'm just staring at your face, LT. I miss you so much. No, make me cry. I miss you. Seriously, mama cry.
Oh, and as I pray and I ask God what it is that he wanted me to do next, that's where the vision for FaithBoard came from. And Tony said it best. It wasn't that I was being extra. It wasn't that I was trying to do the most. It was a vision. That's exactly what it was. It was a vision from God. It was exactly what he told me to do. And he gave me FaithBoard. And when he gave it to me, I knew exactly what it was. And I invited my friends, a few ladies, to the very first experience, I guess you could call it. And then you fast forward some years, and this is where we are with FaithBoard. And I just want you each to know on this line, if you haven't heard anything else from this group of ladies, and you're going to hear from a couple other folks this morning, including my son, who, of course, has been around forever, but has really, I guess, little but known to me, taking the same principles. And I do get a little emotional when I talk about him, because it's not necessarily a conversation that we sat down to have. But then when I see him taking the same principles and using them in his life, I don't think that you can ask for anything more when that happens. So you'll get to hear from him a little bit later. You also get to hear from someone else. Actually, I'll go ahead and tell my sister a little bit later as well. But I truly want to thank Phaedra for bringing us all together, because Adrian, repeat what you said about Phaedra and bringing everybody together. I like the way that you worded it.
Well, she's a real gift giver, but the best gifts have been all of these wonderful friends and sisters, because we're just so close, and we would have not all met. Some of you knew each other. She's a people gatherer for good purpose. She loves to connect people. And she really, I think that's one of her biggest gifts she has, is she puts the right people together. You know?
And I wouldn't have known Adrian.
Huh?
Right. I said I wouldn't have known Adrian. I wouldn't have known LT. And actually, Adrian and I were really connected by our kids, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Because on the way to Aiden's party, that 1-year-old party, Bryce and Drew ended up sitting next to each other. And then the next thing I knew, they're best buds. So then Adrian and I started to talk and become really close. But it was really because of Phaedra that this whole group was brought together. And I'm going to go ahead and add Phaedra to the stream. Oh my goodness.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you great.
Okay. So I had technical difficulties because I could not get my sons to work my computer to help me sign on. So y'all know I don't do all this. I do Bigo Live, and I do social media. But it's a pleasure to be here. Hey, everybody. Hey. So I'm going to go back to the start of how this group got started, because really how it got started was, hold on, I'm trying to turn it up so I can hear myself. How it got really started is because I was getting ready to go on the Housewives, and I wanted to have a team of my friends who I knew God, knew the power of prayer, and who really knew they were really my friends. And so going into that situation, I was like, let me get my closest friends to really pray for me, and let's intercede on a weekly basis so that I would not only be able to go through this journey on TV, but also have people who really knew me and people I really knew that loved me and had my best interest at heart. So Corey and I have been knowing each other and hanging out, club hopping for years. Sarah Lou, I knew her because her husband delivered both of my sons on TV. But prior to that, we knew each other because they had delivered Corey's son. They had delivered everybody's baby in Atlanta. Adrian and I knew each other from teenagers. We went to girls' school together. And Tony, that's my Scorpio sister. Her birthday is 2 days after mine. And she's always been just a whole ball of fire, but she has just got this energy and this grace that is unbelievable. And LT was an attorney who I had been up against in court, who was a hard ass, to put it just hard. So when I became president of the bar, we got super close, and she went on a trip and taught some classes for me. So it was the perfect storm of women who were very different, but they had something in common. They all loved God. They all were good women with great energy, but they all had a spirit of knowing how to support people, a spirit of acceptance, and they had dreams not only for themselves, but good dreams and energy for me too. So we all started praying together once a week, and it just evolved. And I started the vision board because one of my good friends in LA, I watched her do it. And she had put on a vision board like BMW. She had put a husband. She had put all this stuff on this vision board, and all of it came true. So I was like, okay, if all this stuff came true for her, I need to do this. And so I did. And the next thing I knew, I was like, okay, this works. But it was based on Habakkuk 1:2, which says, write the vision, make it plain. Even though it may tarry, it will surely come in its appointed time and season. And so that's the biblical basis of it, writing the vision. And to write the vision is to, put it to paper, whether it's through visual pictures or, writing it in a journal, but making it plain. Making it plain to me was to not only know the big dream, but know the steps and how to get to that place. And being faithful is the tarrying, because I was raised Pentecostal. And so we used to do this thing called tarrying service, where you would lay on the altar and just, it's a whole ritual. But tarrying was basically waiting on God, even though it might not have looked like what you thought it looked like, but you just waited until you saw that thing happen. And so, LT planned the trip. We all went. We did these amazing vision boards, and I just watched it come to pass for everybody in the room. I mean, everybody's testimony is different, but for everybody that attended, everything they wanted truly happened. And, we talk about how old Aiden was. I think it was 2011, because Aiden was just born. He was born in 2010. So it had to be before his second birthday, which is May the 21st. So it was probably 2012, but in March, because I remember it was warm enough for us to go outside, because I remember Adrian taking pictures of pushing them on the swings, but it was cool enough. I remember that, we weren't burning hot. So, waiting is the hardest, Deidre. So, it has been a great journey for us as women. We've taken so many trips together, but the one thing I can say, I can pick up the phone and call any of the ladies in this group and they will answer. We don't have to talk every day because we're grown women. And, when you become a woman, you have children, you have families, you have careers, your friendships mature in a place where I don't have to see you every day to know that you're there. I mean, I pick up the phone and call Tony, and I'm like, hey, Tony, I'm a funeral director. So I'll say, somebody died in New Orleans. We need to roll out. I mean, in 10 minutes, Tony's in the car. We booting to New Orleans or wherever this is. And Tony hates funerals. And I have drugged Tony to more funerals than she probably has ever wanted to go to. So it's that type of relationship. When I call any of them, I know that they're going to be there. But the connection is so strong. If I'm having a bad day, they can feel it and they will call me. Corey and I sat on the phone last night for probably 2.5, 3 hours. And I was like, I'm so overwhelmed with all the deaths, all the funerals, and just, people will pull at you to the point it will drain your soul. And so I would say for 2021, my thing is not only to pray for a better spirit of discernment, but to learn how to say no to people, because when people realize that you have a good heart, sometimes they will take advantage of that and they will use you, and it might not even be their intent. But, Corey said to me, she said, you will look on your list and you would have done everything for everybody else and not done anything for yourself. So as women, we have to really make sure we're doing things for ourselves, because we can get so caught up into helping people, doing for people. And, Corey, this was her vision. And I think maybe 2 years ago, we went to Arizona for my birthday, because she loves to travel. She's definitely a travel chick. And she was like, I'm going to stop doing this. I said, no, you're not going to stop doing it. You're going to get paid to do it, because you cannot throw your pearls to swine. And so many times people will make you feel bad about making money, but no, you're doing a service and you're going to get paid. And so to see that, she was like, no, I don't want to ask. I'm like, we don't get things because we don't ask. And, we all know a closed mouth does not get fed. So if you have a skill set and you do something well, people will pay. You just have to be courageous enough to ask and get what you want and stand on your price. And so to see her, do it, get her book out, I'm just super excited. So I'm super excited to see everybody on the call, but I'm excited for Corey because, she is a rock star. She is a multimillionaire. We get ready to make some more money together this year. Honey,
Okay. So I got to tell you guys about this trip to Arizona before I bring the other ladies back on. So yeah, I have been doing FaithBoard Experience for 5 years. First one was in my living room for the people who were there at the very first one. And I thought that when God gave me this vision for FaithBoard, that I was supposed to fund it, that I was supposed to do everything, that I was supposed to just tell people about it. And in that year 5, literally, I am not kidding. I got a text from Phaedra like, can you leave on the 25th? Like, yep, sure can. I didn't even know where we were going. I had no idea. And we ended up going to Arizona. Like I said, when I say I had no idea where we were going, we went to Arizona. And if you've ever taken a for real girls trip, you know what it's like to be laying in bed at night and you know, the lights are out. You can't see each other, but y'all just talking, right? You closing the night out, y'all just talking. And she asked me how it was going. And I said, well, I don't think I'm going to do it. I definitely don't think that I'm going to do it this year. And she asked why. And I said, well, quite frankly, it's become, a financial undertaking. She was like, well, how much are you making? And I said, nothing. Well, how much are you charging? And I said, nothing. She said, that's why it's not growing. And I was like, what? She was like, that's why it's not growing. Guys, I promise you, I got back home and I revamped it and I charged a fee for FaithBoard Experience that next year for the very first time. I'll never forget it. It was at Fulton County Aviation Center and it sold out completely. Tony was there. It completely sold out. You all, the next year, God said, I need you to find somewhere that's twice as big. And now I'm really like, you got to be kidding. He said, I need you to find somewhere that's twice as big. Y'all, I got a place that was twice as big. It sold out again. I don't even think you understand that how important, Phaedra, that conversation was for me. Because there's no way that I would be where I am now. Like I said, a lot of these ladies are hearing my testimony for the first time this morning, the impact that the Ritz-Carlton had on our lives and Phaedra bringing us all together. But Phaedra, I want to publicly say thank you because without you, my dream could be buried. Can I be honest, y'all? My dream could be buried somewhere for me to have that poor attitude. Poor stands for passing over opportunity repeatedly. He told me to do FaithBoard. He didn't tell me to, go broke doing it, right? He did not tell me to go broke doing it. And in the chat right now, I want you guys, I truly want you guys to type this, okay? Money is not evil.
That's right. Shondo.
Come on now. Y'all write it. I need you to type it. Money is not, that's not what the word says. Money is not evil. And if you don't have the right people around you, and I want to bring the other ladies back up. If you don't have the right people around you to add to your circle, in fact, in the journal, in the Pray, Plan, Execute journal, like I said, I talk about accountability, but accountability doesn't mean somebody that's just going to text you and ask you, did you do this today? No. Accountability is also people who are going to add to you. If I mentioned this in the prep call, there's a book called Strength-Based Leadership. And strength-based leadership is all about not trying to do it all yourself. It's about taking the things that you are strong at, concentrating on that, and then making sure your circle can fill in the gaps. And when I tell you, you are looking right now on this screen at ladies I know that can fill in the gaps where I am not strong. It's okay. If you're an executor and you're not an idea person, that's fine. If you're the idea person and not the executor, okay. But as we get ready to finish up with these ladies and move to the next part of the program, I want you guys, you ladies on the phone, to just talk a little bit about, why goal setting is important. And as you talk about that, you're more than welcome to go from there. We'll move to our next speaker. But LT, let's start with you. Why is that goal setting, whether it's the vision board, a virtual vision board, a faith board, whatever you want to call it, why is that so important?
So it's important, but it's kind of unique to me. All of you on the phone know that I'm a planner, right? Y'all know I'm a planner, right? I like to have a to-do list. And so that's just one of those things for me. You've got to know what works for you and being able to check off and do. But I want to go back to something that you said that is so important. And Phaedra recognizes that. Like, I have to give love to her because I'm going to try not to get emotional. I wouldn't have this type of support group, but for her bringing us all together. And it's something that you said, which is recognizing the strengths that each of your friends have, right? Each of your friends have different strengths, right? Y'all know I'm a planner. I'm a planner. She'll say, hey, you want to go to Cuba? Okay, I'll get it planned. You want to go to Martha's Vineyard? I'll get it planned. And knowing that, but also not asking more of your friend than what they are capable of doing, right? And so that's almost something you also need to do for your own goals. It's important to have goals and have things so that you can be looking at, but there's something when you worship the goal more than the journey to get to it. And when you don't get to that goal, you feel like you are a failure. And sometimes I have to work with that within myself because I'm such a list maker. And if I don't make it to that list, I feel like, what have I done wrong that I didn't get it all done? But you know what? It's not always about getting it accomplished. So that's what I would say with regard to goals. But this call this morning has been just amazing for me. I'm just going to, y'all be giving me chicken soup for my soul all the time. When we get together, it is like magic. We're like we are a group on beyond others. So this has been some good chicken soup. So yes, that's what I look at for goals. It's important to get them done, but also it's not, don't put so much pressure on yourself to get everything done at a certain time, because it may not be that you're supposed to get it done. The journey, you get something from that journey of trying to get it done to get you to the next space that God wants you to be in.
I like that. In the book, I talk about show yourself some grace. Extend yourself some grace. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, LT, thank you so much. Miss Tony, you're now up.
Hey, ladies. Well, it said, you see me writing lists behind me everywhere I go. I'm writing things down too. One, the best thing about how God will work if you believe in the faith, you can't be a liar if you tell the truth. You can't be a liar if you tell the truth, because you got to remember too many steps in a lie. Truth is already written and it's already played. It's your truth. When you write it down, these are the things I will do. You're not writing things down that you did. You're writing things down that you will do. That's what goal setting is. When part of the military thing, doing it, we would have to run miles. So I told somebody, I was like, your time is different from everyone else. No one crosses that finish line at the same time. Even if you think they did, those seconds count. And I used to tell people, I was like, don't look back at the person behind you. That's going to slow you down. And they was like, well, I said, yeah, even you turn your head that far back, if you're not a good runner and you haven't practiced that, it's going to slow you down. So goal setting is where you're going. You already know where you've been.
There you go.
Well, these days it's everywhere your carbon footprint or whatever that you already know where you've been. You can read and look on Facebook and social media and all these different things. You already know where you've been. You're proof of where you've been. You're poor. So when you write it down, like, you got to do these things for yourself. And when we can't see that, and it gets so clouded by everybody else's expectations, you start losing. You start failing because you're trying to do a goal that you put up for yourself. You put it up for somebody else.
Mm,
Speak on.
that's good. That's good, Tony.
That,
Thank you.
that's it. It's proof. Like, I tell what I say, Phaedra, I say, I ain't see you writing it in your book this year. And she's like, well, I'm like, yeah, I didn't see you writing stuff down to do. We can't be just going to these funerals and then stuff don't happen after we leave. And she was like, I said, no, I'm gonna need you to write something down.
That's good. That's good. I told y'all Tony is the cheerleader of the group.
She'll give you all the quotes you need for the day.
She absolutely will. All right, Miss Sarah, what about you? Go.
Well,
Sarah.
you know, as I'm hearing all these women talk, and y'all might have seen me motioning and talking to somebody over here and pointing. So I woke my 18-year-old daughter up, and I wanted her to be here listening to these powerful women and to the wisdom that's being shared today. She's wrapped up in a blanket in her jammies to my right. But I just, you know, this is why it's so important. And I keep thinking to myself, the same phrase coming through that I heard this past year. How free do you want to be?
Amen.
How free do you want to be? Because we all want freedom.
Very.
Material. Yes, I saw Adrian. I saw you wrote that. You know, we all want freedom from different things, but you know, when it comes down to it, are you still allowing obstacles to get in your way? How free do you really want to be? And that's a big question that I'm going to let lead my FaithBoard experience this year. And I haven't done that before, and I want to see where it gets me. So I thank all of y'all for being here, and thank you for including us. Coria, I think what you've done is absolutely amazing. It's truly a testament. And I aspire to be more like these women. So thank you for what you've done and what you're doing for other women out there.
Wow, I love it. How free do you want to be?
Free.
Phaedra, did we not have that conversation last night?
We did.
Wow. How free do you want to be? All right, Sarah. All right. Hey, Adrian.
Hi. I mean, to answer the question about goal setting and why is that important, I'm not sure if it was you or Tony. One of you gave me one of the best quotes, and I had it written on my kitchen chalkboard for years. And I think it was you. And it was "Live where you're standing." And that has been something I must say that to myself several times a week. And I share that one with people as well. And to me is knowing where you are, put your feet on the ground and just do it. But the next part is having your goals. Where am I moving to? Where am I going next? It's like for me to drive to Kansas without a map. It's the same as not having a goal. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get there easily, for sure, if at all. So when you set your goals, you're really having an intention and a purpose, you know, to your day, even to your thoughts. It's down to even your thoughts, because we really are what we're thinking. You know, we're creating that with our thoughts every day. So having that intention in a goal really gives you purpose. And I can quote a friend of mine. He says, "Purpose to the spirit is like wind to the storm. It gives it direction." And so that is what we really have to hold true, you know. That's really what I take away. So when I get to my goal very soon of freedom this year, my word, I know that it's something that I'm walking in daily. It's a daily goal. So
yes.
Anyway, well, thank you guys. I'm so proud of you, Coria.
Oh, thanks. Hey, thank you. All right, P. Goal setting.
Lord, I done heard all this good stuff. What was the question?
Goal setting. Goal setting is important.
You know what? If you don't know what your final destination is, or the desired destination, you won't know how to get there. It's like just when we get up every day, and if you want to go to the grocery store, you know it's Publix, you know it's I don't know, Whole Foods, wherever you go, you know, I got to do X, Y, Z to get to that place. So you got to set goals, because if you are not knowing the destination that you want to be at, you'll never make it, because you'll never be in the mindset to follow the steps to get there. So, goals and just living in your truth and just being able to tell it to people, true friends who will obviously stand in the gap when you can't for yourself. It's unbelievable. And, during these times with COVID and all this stuff going on and so many people dying, you really got to have friends that you can have transparent conversations with, like us last night, Corey. And you can say, hey, this is what I really need. And you can send them a picture.
Oh, goodness.
Because sometimes you can't, and you cannot share your vision with everybody.
Right.
Not everybody is for you. Even when it looks like they are for you, they are not for you. So you got to, that spirit of discernment, you have to have it, because people say they're your friends, and sometimes, and I'll say this, actions speak louder than words. I mean, and me and Corey talk about, people who we have known for, 25, 30 years. And, everything has a season. And so even with friendships and people who come into your life, some people are there just to encourage you during a moment. And when it's time for them to go, you got to know when to walk away from it. Because if people are not igniting you, they're extinguishing you. My
Lord. Write that one down, y'all. If they are not igniting you, they are extinguishing you.
So,
wow. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. And getting real people around you. Well, ladies, I thank you. I'm so glad that I finally got to tell you all the full testimony of what actually happened that weekend and how important your friendship is to me. I can't say thank you enough. For everybody else, guys, I want you to hang on. You're now getting ready to hear from one of the loves of my life, my son. I know some people might think, well, this is an adult conversation, but like I said, when you do what you're supposed to do as a parent and you see things pouring out on your children, and not necessarily you sat down and you taught them a lesson, but you see it start to manifest, I think that it's very important. So P, Sarah, LT, Tony, you guys, thank you so much. And guys, like I said, make sure you pick up the Pray, Plan, Execute Journal. It is on Amazon or at playplanexecutejournal.com. Thank you, ladies. Love y'all. Love you all.
Thank you.
All right. So guys, as we move to the next part of FaithBoard Experience right now, I want to tell you all about something that happened with my son when he was 3 years old. And this really talks about visualizing. And that's one of the steps that I discuss in Pray, Plan, Execute 5 fail-proof goals. Fail-proof goals in 5 easy steps. But when my son was just 3 years old, he said he wanted to play soccer. Now, I'm going to be honest, I knew nothing about soccer. And I distinctly remember my mother visiting and my mother saying, let him play soccer if he wants to play soccer. And I said, okay. And we signed him up for soccer. And we tried a lot of other different things. And in fact, I'm not going to even tell the whole story. Bryce, I want him to come. And because we're in the same house, y'all going to have to bear with us. I'm going to switch seats with him for just a second. But Bryce was very confident of the vision that God had for him. He was very confident about the vision that God had for him. But I want Bryce to talk about being confident of that vision and then putting in the work that goes along with it. Now, y'all know how hard it is to get your kids to talk, right? But I think it's very important because, like I said, this is not a lesson that I necessarily sat down and taught him. But when I saw him implementing the same principles, because let's just be honest, if we're just going to do it for ourselves and then we're not going to pass it on to our children, what good is that? I mean, what kind of woman would I be to share all of these things with you all that I've learned and things that have happened in my life and then not pass it along to my children? So, Sarah, you were right on point when you said you had your daughter there. So, Bryce, come on and get on camera. I'm going to move out of the way for a moment. And Bryce is normally shy a little bit in the beginning, but Bryce, I want you to talk about, that first time that you knew that you were supposed to play soccer and how confident you were in that vision that God gave you.
Yeah, so I started playing when I was probably 3, 4, something like that. And honestly, I just felt something that I really liked about it. But then as I got older, I realized this is actually something I really, really do enjoy, and I want to go on further with it. So I think this was about the time when even before FaithBoard, where I was just praying, planning, just trying to figure out if this was something God really wanted me to do and what I really wanted to go for and everything. So yeah, I was praying, planning out things, and just going from there. I think the most important thing is really having conversations with God, constantly just asking him, is this what you want? Lord, if it's not what you want for me in my life, just tell me, let me know, and I promise you we'll figure it out. And I think just that first time of me just having that conversation with him and him confirming everything that I had believed in for so many years was just really what I wanted and what God wanted for my life. So I think that was great.
Okay. What about mindset? Keeping that mindset once God gives you the vision, talk about the mindset that you have to have after that.
The mindset you have to have after that is really just putting your all into it, because faith without action is meaningless. Really, it's just if you want something for your life and you claim it and you do nothing for it, then what's the point? If you say you want to lose weight, but all you do is stay in bed and eat McDonald's all day, then how is that going to work? You gotta put forth action and real effort into it for you to be successful. And for you to be successful, you have to sacrifice, you have to work hard, you have to do some extraordinary things to get some extraordinary results. There's no room for being ordinary, especially if the plan is God's plan. You can't do that, because his plans are way beyond even our scope of vision. And so we have to go beyond what we think is necessary and do what we know he wants us to do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bryce.
No problem.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I appreciate you guys taking that time to let my little guy come on and speak. This was not rehearsed. So if you have children, I think that, maybe it would be a good idea to share that message with them, because once Bryce had that vision and once he let me know that, hey, I've had this conversation, God has confirmed it for me, at that point, my hands off. And I got to tell you, we tried everything. I put him in baseball. I put him in basketball. Guys, we did fencing. We did it all. Tanya Chambers is on here. She knows we did it all, right? And I feel like as a parent, that's what I should have done. I should have given him an opportunity to try these different things. But yes, Marlene, you are right. There is no room for ordinary. And I'm going to say this last thing about him before we bring on our last speaker for today is he's also got to get it done in the classroom. Bryce is in an IB program, which is the most rigorous curriculum in the state of Georgia. He's in the IB program. He plays soccer, but it all has to happen. And he's still got to do the other things around the house. He still has chores. You know, I'm still teaching him different things because Bryce says he doesn't want to work for a corporation. He doesn't want to see anybody else's name on his checks. When he's an adult, he wants to be his own boss. Who would I be if I didn't try to nourish that? Who would I be if I didn't try to fertilize that? Because that is his goal. And we really need to do that with our children, with our friends, with the other people around us. You heard my girls talking about, hey, when we say something, I'm going to make sure that you don't forget it. If you tell Tony that you want to learn how to do the splits, she might show up over at your house and say, let's go out here in the yard. We about to practice the splits, right? We have to do that. We have to lay that foundation. And just listening to Bryce talk this morning about his goals, his dreams, how dedicated he is, and the fact that I didn't have to sit down with him last night and say, hey, I want you to say this. I want you to say that, is absolutely phenomenal. So we need to feed the vision. Everybody type that in the chat. Feed the vision. Somebody said, can't wait to see Bryce go to the World Cup. You got that right. I can't wait to see him go to the World Cup either. Feed the vision. I want everybody to type that in the chat. Feed the vision. You have to feed the vision. And in the pray, plan, execute, you know, I talk about setting up a schedule. Can I tell y'all that the distractions are going to come? Can I tell you that, you know, things are going to happen. Life is going to happen. But you have to plan for distractions. You absolutely have to plan for distractions because they're going to come. It's going to happen, right? So you have to plan for those things ahead of time. So now with that being said, we are going to bring up our last speaker for today. And I had told her to send me some stuff, but it would be crazy if I need an intro to introduce this person, because let me tell you guys that you.
Hey, sis.
And that laugh right there, you will always hear that laugh. It is unbelievable, Patrice. So let me tell you all, you know how you say, oh, that's my cousin, that's my sister, and then you dig a little bit deeper, and then they're like, that's my play cousin, that's my play sister. Well, no, this is actually my sister Patrice. And I want to give you an opportunity. I've told a lot, but I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself as well before we talk about doing the work.
Definitely. You froze earlier on me, so that's
okay. Sorry about that. But introduce yourself. Tell them anything else you want them to know that I haven't told you or I haven't told them.
Well, I'm pretty sure you said everything. that you needed to say. I'm from Maryland, and I didn't meet my sister until I was 14 years old. I didn't know she existed. Um, our dad is a musician, so he was very, very fast in life. Still is. A lot of ambition, a lot of, going here and there. So his priorities were a little different back in that time. So whenever he did realize it was important for us to meet, he set it up. Thank God for him doing that. And we've been best friends ever since. But basically, I'm a songwriter, writer. When you are a writer, you can write anything. Let me just say that. I didn't know anything about goal setting or faith boards. It was, it basically, I think it was born into my brain board. I had no idea that some of the things that I was planning to do the organization of it was actually going in the right direction. I didn't know. So I can honestly say that a lot of people are born to be risk takers. A lot of people, people that aren't afraid of taking risks, people that aren't afraid of failure, people that aren't afraid to lose, For some reason, I have a mechanism in me that no matter what, I'm doing this. If I hear from God, if I get his okay or his high five, then I'm good. And I know that I'm going to be okay, So from doing all the projects that Coria mentioned, that was how I was able to be a success in those things. A lot of people will say, is it teachable? Can you teach somebody to take risks? Can you teach somebody not to give up so soon on their goals? Yes. And it's what Coria is doing, training for that mindset. It's so important. We are here on a mission. That is the very first thing that I knew. I was here for a short time and on a mission to change the world. And I know that sounds big or over the top, but that's exactly spiritually what it is. You're only here to change a piece of the world, whatever piece that is. So basically, I was doing all of that. I think I published my first book at 22. Was I 22? It was called Family 101, and it was a quote book. It was a quote book on just everything that I've seen my family doing. My family is huge. So my grandmother had 12 kids, and out of that came 35 grandkids, and out of 35 came 20 some, so it was a huge family in Maryland. So that was all the book was about. I got my first broken heart, massively. So I wrote about that. I wrote what I knew, and I wrote what I did to get through it. Had no idea it would touch the people that it did touch. I was doing it for my healing. That was it, and that's how that came about. But as far as goals are set, I have a friend that just told me the other day that he was going to quit his job and start his tech business. This guy is amazing, right? He had this awesome idea, invention during the pandemic. And I just heard from him just maybe yesterday saying that he's going back to work. And now that he's gone back to work, because, things happen, life happens sometimes. He went back to work and business started picking up. A lot of people don't know about the patience that you have to have with your goals, Unfortunately, he's too afraid to continue on as of yet. I'm pretty sure, with me talking to him, he'll change his mind. But right now he's gone back to work and his business is stacking up and he's too afraid. So that is very real. That's very real, during the planning of your goals, if things don't go quite right or the right timing, that doesn't mean that goal has to perish. You know what I mean?
That's good. That is really, really good. Let me back up and tell you guys a quick testimony about Patrice and our relationship. So we talked about, our father, and I specifically remember him being ill and calling my mother and saying, hey, you need to get her to Washington, D.C. I was born in D.C. And so we can see him. And at this point, I'm thinking, is he going to live? Is he going to? I honestly did not know. Well, obviously, he ended up making it, introduced me to Patrice, and I came back to visit. And Patrice, I don't know if you remember this, we had scheduled to meet the rest of your family. Now, I had no idea how big this family was. And I remember Patrice said, well, he's going to drop you off, or Patty, which is my other mother, saying he's going to drop you off at grandmother's house. Guys, I got to grandmother's house, and there were no less than 30 or 35 people at the house waiting on me now to walk through the door. But I will say this, that the minute that I walked through that door, I was never called a stepdaughter, a stepsister, none of those things. Patrice and I immediately connected. And I tell you this, one of the things I was going to tell you guys about 2021 today was, I don't care what you did in 2020. Okay. I need you to reject whoever that was. It was good. If it was bad, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you did in 2020, right? 2021 is now here. And it didn't matter what my dad had done prior to that. Didn't matter what had happened, that we didn't know each other the first 14 years of our life. It mattered what was going to happen going forward from there. And, from there, I will tell you this, that we have done a lot of things together. But one thing that I hold near and dear to my heart is I was able to marry my own sister. And when I say marry, meaning I was able to conduct her wedding and to marry her. I want y'all to put that into perspective, right? Talk about, destiny, talking about us coming together. But she's right. I remember at 20 or 22, her writing her first book. But then she had already done an album. She'd already done her very first album at that point. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, she in her 20s, she writing books, she's doing albums, she's doing all of this stuff. She did the work. And when we talk about in the Pray, Plan, Execute in the journal, and I talk about fail-proof goals and 5 easy steps, the 5th step is doing the work. So Patrice, before we get ready to close out, I want you to talk about just that for a moment, doing the work and actually getting it done.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that, actually. How in the world a lot of people honestly think I just wake up in the morning and say, oh, I think I'll open a restaurant, and it happens months later. It is not that at all. It looks like that. And actually, that's how it's supposed to look. But the real work is as simple as just this. Do one thing a day to get to your goal. That is what I did. If it's one phone call, that's what I did to move towards the goal. It's just as simple as that. You will be so surprised, starting off with the one thing. The people that aren't quite risk takers, and we need you guys still. Don't change. But in order to learn how to get to a particular goal, this is what we do. We do one thing a day. You start off with that one thing, it turns into 5 things a day. And then it turns into 10. And then you wake up and you're opening the doors to your restaurant and theater and talk show, whatever you're doing. That is just as simple as that. There is nothing you cannot do. It is impossible to say I cannot do it, because I have done things that are not in my field. I just always had an interest for it.
Wow.
And you don't need, I call myself the restaurant. I've never had a passion to do that. My mom is a chef, so I want her to have everything before she leaves this earth. So I kept opening restaurants on her behalf. The second one, I had to put a theater in the back because that's my passion. I have a love for restaurant and cooking, but not a passion for it. So make the difference between the two. You might be just loving the thing and not passionate about it. But to do one thing a day towards that goal will get you closer and closer while you're living your beautiful life.
Wow. I want everybody to type that in the chat box. Love versus passion. There's a difference. Wow. I love to do a thing, but am I really passionate about it? It goes back to what I said in the very beginning. Does your why make you cry? And I showed you all my board from 2020. And like I said, some people put houses and cars on their board. This is my why. He's my why. This guy right here, that's my why. Does my why make me cry? My why breaks me down. When I don't think about achieving my goals, I look at Bryce and it breaks me all the way down. So when you talk about that love versus passion, that's exactly what it is. Another thing that I say, is it good or is it God? Guys, we can do some good things. We can have some good ideas, but is it God? Because I believe that when they are God ideas, that the passion is absolutely there. It should be automatic, in my opinion, right? It's hard to deny that when God gives us an idea. One other thing, Patrice, I want to mention is, hey, you can't be worried about who's going to help you get to where you're supposed to go. Can I tell you that it's nobody else's responsibility to achieve what God has given you except you? Right? Tree, would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
It's nobody else's responsibility. And you may have loaned somebody some money. You may have let them use your car. You may have done all of these things for them. I don't care. If you call them and they are not available, it's not their responsibility. And that's okay. I have some lofty goals for 2021. And I love putting myself out there. I do. I said on the prep call that one of my goals for 2021 is to get to 100,000 followers. Y'all, I don't have a lot of followers now, but guess who does? My bestie, Phaedra Parks. Guess whose path that I'm following and who I'm looking at and what she's doing and how diligent she is about her business and about what she does. One of my goals is to get to 100,000 followers. I said on that same call, on the prep call, that one of my goals was to do private FaithBoard events for groups and businesses, and to do FaithBoard boot camps. 5 minutes after I got off the prep call, I get a text from Marlene Anderson. Hey, I've got a group. They want to do a private FaithBoard event just for their. Now I'm thinking it's maybe a few people. I can't tell y'all who the group is, but you watch my timeline. #watch me win in 2021 with a WON, because no sooner than I claimed it for myself. My phone rang. You think there's power in that? There's absolutely power in that. I spoke it and I believed it. Now, I will say this. I've been talking today about the Pray, Plan, Execute. If you do not have it, this is the best way to stay on track this year with us. We will have a private group that you can also be a part of. And I don't mean to sound harsh here, but the exclusive Goal Digger group will be very intense. They're going to be real life resources. I'm going to have actionable tips and a lot more. I'll be bringing on some of my other friends to talk specifically about different things. It will be an all-star lineup. But if you don't want serious accountability, that particular group is probably not for you. I would say get the Pray, Plan, Execute journal either on prayplanexecutejournal.com or on Amazon. And then make sure that you stay connected with us with the 30-day check-in, the 6-month follow-up, and then the finish strong. But if you truly want to be held accountable, your schedule and your goals, and you want to see some of these things happen that I've seen happen with so many people in this group. Like I said, we've birthed books. Valerie Champion book. We've birthed podcasts. We've birthed entrepreneurs. We've birthed businesses. Valeria, we birthed businesses out of this group, and not bragging on me, but definitely bragging on the vision that God has given me. And let me tell you, you owe it to yourself in 2021. You owe it to yourself. In the chat right now, I want y'all to type, I am worth it. I'm worth it. Guys, each and every one of you, you are worth it. And you owe it to yourself to get it done in 2021 like no other year before.
Yes.
You owe it to yourself to leave the past in the past. Patrice, we talked about that, right?
Yes. Yes, you have to. Not only did my sister marry me for a husband that I waited for years, but she also had to help bury him 4 years later after the wedding. And although that's a whole nother day for a conversation on sorrow while going for your goals is important. But just to say that it's very possible, we lose people all the time, and a lot of people die in that, but you can still live.
Oh my goodness. Come on now. Oh my gosh, y'all. Now that's real. I'm gonna point to you. A lot of you probably can see the quotes on my wall, but I'm gonna point the camera up just a little bit because it says, "Dear past, bye. Dear future, let's get it."
Wow.
Yeah, that can happen in the same sentence, right? In the same breath of voice. Dear past, bye, meaning goodbye, and dear future, let's get it. Folks, it is time to get it in 2021. I'm going to give you guys a couple other things before we get ready to close out. The first thing is make sure you text FaithBoard to 484848 so that you can stay up to date on everything that we're doing for the entire year. I'm going to ask you to follow me on IG at Just Coria. Now, my web developer and my marketing assistant, we have just switched over my Facebook to also Just Coria because she's trying to keep me on board. We are rebranding me. So if you go on Facebook and it hasn't switched over yet, it definitely will be there on tomorrow. I want you to follow FaithBoard Experience. Now, this is where you're going to get all of your tips, all of the resources all year long on FaithBoard Experience. That is on Facebook. And then if you're part of the exclusive group, which you can sign up at prayplanexecutejournal.com. When you sign up for the exclusive group, and you can do that on a monthly basis, you can do it on a quarterly basis, or if you're really serious about getting to your goals, you can do it on an annual basis. Again, y'all, this is not for the faint at heart. These are for the folks that are completely serious about getting to another level. You can do that on prayplanexecutejournal.com. That will be a separate meeting that we will do at minimum twice a month, because I'm going to give you a little bit of time to get your homework done. In between, make sure you order the Pray Plan Execute Journal, and then sign up for updates also on faithboardexperience.com. Guys, there's a song that I heard this morning by Shanna Wilson called Give Me You. And if you haven't heard it, I want you to go and listen to it today. But it's Shanna Wilson, Shana. And y'all, I heard it. It says, give me you. I hope it's not too late. Y'all, when I tell you it's not too late, if you can hear my voice, it is not too late. But make sure you go and listen to that today. And I'll ask you, how bad do you want it? I'll end with that. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to get to where you want to go in 2021? I can tell you that it won't be easy, but a promise that I can make you is that it will be worth it. It will be worth it. On that note, I want to thank everybody. For joining us today. I can't say thank you enough. I see that Phaedra is still on. If she doesn't mind, I'm going to ask her if she has any parting words as well. Patrice, thank you so much. I love you. I love you so much. I'm going to see if I can add Phaedra back on for just a moment to give us any parting words. P, you there?
I am. Girl, and I got my lashes now.
Oh.
Yes. I had to get them on, y'all, because I didn't have them on early. I had to go put them on. You know what? First of all, I just want to say this was so awesome. I hope everyone in the room had as much, not had fun, but I hope that you were as inspired as we were. I was on the phone after I disconnected. LT was on my cell phone and we was talking, and we have all, it was like just seeing our group, our prayer circle together. It's inspired us just to be able to see each other, because of course with the virus, we haven't really been able to interact like we normally would. But I just want to tell all the people who are out there that praying, planning, and executing, it really does work. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in Coria's life. I've seen it in all the women's lives that came up to speak today. And no matter how distant your dream seems, keep moving towards it. And no matter what anyone, block out every distraction. And, just like she said, it's never too late. I mean, I got 5 college degrees. I got 1 degree when I was pregnant with my 2nd child, my 5th one. And so you just have to say, God, if you brought it to me, bring me through it. And so he will do it. And so I love you, Coria. I want to just encourage everybody, no matter what it looks like, this is the time that God can move in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a desert. When you have water, that's when you're on the right side. That's when you have favor. And I believe if, God put you on this call today and in the room with all of these people who are like-minded, it is your season. It is your time. So I would just tell you to flourish, whatever doubts you have, we just put them aside and just flourish, grow and blossom.
Amen. And I'm watching you. I'm following you so I can get to my 100K. That is my goal for the year.
I said 1 million. We ain't talking about no.
Come on now.
1 million.
See?
1 million. But you're gonna get over on these Bigo streets and you're gonna get this 1 million and you're gonna get these beans with me sitting. We ain't thinking about these other social media networks, honey. We talking about something for real, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was the conversation we had. Absolutely.
Conversation. And so, I love you, sister. And of course, LT's on the phone saying, hey, we need to plan. We got to get together. Yeah. Let's go to Martha's Vineyard. I was like, child, it's too cold for Martha's Vineyard. But we got to do something. So I'm just excited. Y'all buy the book, Pray, Plan, and Execute. It's on Amazon. It will bless your soul. I know it works because I have been there for the past, I guess it's got to be about 9-10 years to see it in motion. So women and men, be your best self.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, P. I appreciate it. Thank you. I love you. Guys, that is it. When I tell you it is right on time, I said 12 noon. Year long. Don't get excited today and let this be it, right? We want to make sure that you stay encouraged all year long. Again, I love you and thank you so much for being here for FaithBoard Experience 2021. I look forward to many, many years to come. Goodbye, everybody.